Hey guys, welcome. Hello, welcome to Idea Sex Live. We're talking about awakening your creative process. And today I have Steve the Light Wizard.
Hello.
Hey, Janelle, the lovely Janelle, as always. And the spectacular Jules from Mojo.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. So, yeah, we'll just kick into it. And if you have any questions, or I would love to hear about what your creative process is. What's your secret for getting into your creative flow? How do you just make magic happen on the fly? We were just having a conversation before about, sometimes when we plan things out and we come up with this massive structure, it all falls to crap when we actually try and implement it. So, yeah, we'll just start the conversation flowing, guys. Does anyone want to say just start chatting about the creative process?
Well, I'll jump right in there if you don't mind.
Please do.
One of the ideas that I've been sort of working with lately is that we're all actually geniuses, right? We all have our own sort of genius inside of us.
Amen.
And the word genius actually comes from the North African word genie, which means that which is already there. So it's not like the genius that we think about in our modern terms, but it's sort of my contention that we all come into this planet with a particular style and a particular authenticity that is us, that is absolutely us. And it's part of our purpose to uncover that the best that we can. And we've all got a different one, and so you can't really get yours wrong. I mean, you can get it wrong, but once you uncover it, it's yours. It's yours to own. So that's one theme that I'd like to share with you tonight.
Yes, I love it. That's bouncing off that. Amanda said,
going first.
welcome,
Read that.
welcome Amanda, and Seth. I think it was it Einstein who said, if you measure a fish's confidence by its ability to climb a tree, then it will spend its whole life thinking it's stupid. So that's all about its genius and finding our genius. So what is our genius? Thank you so much, man, Mr.
You're very
Genius.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mr. Genius.
Geniuses.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so absolutely on the money for the way that I see it as well, in that what I find is that the creative process usually starts with a spark of inspiration or a download or some kind of vision for something that hasn't been born yet, and that there's some action steps to take between now and its full manifestation. And that's where I notice my tenacious ego mind will come in and start going, okay, there's the flow, now let's try and conceptualize the fuck out of this thing, so that essentially I've done a lot of exploring this distinction between flow and form, and essentially like the creative energy is flow. It's our natural, as you say, like it's where the divine flow, or the great primordial mojo, as I like to call it, meets our individual self-expression and that unique genius, which only we can share. And then, but that we are in a society that's so fixated with form that it's all about, okay, so, what are the ifs, ands and buts that go along here, and we become our own worst devil's advocate before we've even started. Or when I say we, I'm talking about, this has been my experience, is that I can stifle my own creative flow before it's even begun by getting too critical or too perfectionistic about it. And oftentimes the best way that I can get myself back into my creative flow is to get out of my head and into my body, because so much, as soon as my head takes over and decides this is the way we're going with this, and this is all that, it's got these very limited parameters and these very limited ideas, and all of that beautiful inspiration and juice gets lost as soon as I let this thing dry. And then it's about getting enough of the balance so that there's the structure and the actions and the strategies that need to be taken in order to bring it together, but there's also the need to stay in trust of the mysterious creative flow, which hasn't got it all figured out yet, because that's its nature, is to keep unfolding moment by moment. So yes, that's it's a very delicate dance, and it's one that I'm still navigating.
I want to actually ask Jules now.
Yeah.
How do you negotiate? How do you make partners with creative flow, not hindering that, and then also partnering that in a peaceful, coexisting way, systems and functions? How do you do that? How do you marry those?
That's an awesome
Peacefully.
question. Yes. the intermarriage counselling is a work in progress and constantly continuing.
Because I'm great with the creative flow, and what fucks me up is the systems and the, you know, that tends to block that down and shut that down. And I'm in the process now. I'm working with a coach now. Hi, Bethany. And to try and create a coexistence where they communicate openly with each other and value each other. To bring things into fruition. But I'm definitely more juicy and more creative rather than systems. And it's only been a recent, a shocking discovery that I actually like systems much more than I thought I did.
Totally. I remember the day that happened to me.
I'm shocked.
I was like, oh, amazing. And I guess that's the thing, like anything of getting the harmony together is about befriending all of the parts of the process, even the parts that initially seem like the nemesis, you know? And so instead of me going, oh, fuck off mind, I don't want you, you know, whatever, I'm like,
But actually, you're worthy and I kind of need you.
You're totally necessary. You're a very important part of this process. We just need to be able to negotiate so we don't get into power struggles. And
Yes. And something that's coming up for me.
Elphie.
Something that's coming up for me is this whole idea of, you know, having a skeleton rather than trying to come up with every single
Love that.
detail and
So
get the skeleton and then flesh it out live in presence on the battlefield itself of the creative process.
That's a really good analogy.
We literally just talked about this before because I think we both used skeleton and then Elphie made the connection in addition to fleshing it out. It's such a beautiful, powerful snapshot of that process.
Yep, that's awesome. And I don't know about you, but as somebody who, you know, is generally more inspired by the fine details and the aesthetics of the finished product. I remember years ago when I was writing a play that was a constant work in progress and lots of redrafting and all the rest of it. And I remember that at one point I was getting so intent on getting these tiny nuances right before even the real structure and the body of the base of it was there. And then the mantra that I kept reminding myself of over and over again was, I need to build it before I can paint it. And so rather than seeing it, I like the idea of the skeleton and the fleshing out because it becomes more like a human being and it's sexy.
Yeah.
But the way I was visualizing it at the time was more like a building, you know. It's like essentially I'm in there trying to make sure that all the corners is right and it's got all its, you know, pretty little interior decorating, but there's no solid foundations to the thing yet. It
No
doesn't
floor.
even exist.
I have to. Oh, this is so beautiful. Oh my god! Look at this.
Yes. So hello, Gulshan. Hello,
My
Rod.
top matches your hair. It's
Hello, Lydia. Guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the creative process.
So-
Any questions you have for us? And Janelle.
So I'm bursting. Let me talk.
Please.
I'm a with teaching yoga. What that means to me is what I found for myself in my creative process is that essentially I've tried to emphasize many different ways of preparing for a class and delivering it and containing the space and setting that up. And I've tried on being really, really methodical and really planned and really structured, like 2 days out from a class and over planning, and then I lose my juice. And I know that doesn't work for me. And then what I've actually found more recently is that, or through my journey, is that actually by dropping more into the space and by trusting and by plugging into my own sense of, basically what I do is I'll have a rough skeleton and then I'll flesh it out. Or the other thing that I do is that I'll actually have so much trust and faith that I'll turn up to the studio early, I'll do my own practice, I meditate, I drop into my own body, and I have faith that the little seed, the little idea that I have will actually come to fruition, and I have faith that will actually come out and flow through me. So it's more about dropping into my own space, and it's more about opening and having faith and feeling really grounded. And what you said is essentially what I resonated with was not focusing on individual poses, not focusing on individual cues, not focusing on like the tiny little details of everything, but rather having a really strong, like earthy, gutsy, meaty base. And then I just know that everything's going to, like, literally, if I can think of soil and planting soil and sort of tending to that, and then literally everything sprouts up from that from that space of having planted and really dropping into my own earthiness in my own space. And so, yeah, and just having faith that all the details will come from that. And in my experience, that has never served me badly ever. Like that's always actually come, like that's when I feel most connected, is basically if I'm connected to me and my process, chances are I'm going to deliver connecting to others.
Absolutely.
And holding the space for others in their process.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There is no point in me toiling over and trying to get to the end result of things when my actual space is not oriented to connecting to that whole process in the first place. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And welcome, Sophie. And Rod, very good point that's building upon what's happening here. Discovering your essence first. So good to actually do that before going and doing everything else, because...
Know your why.
It gives way to everything up beyond that. It gives way to the kind of space we can create. It gives way to the kind of style that we're going to use in the moment. So absolutely, discovering your essence first is very important. So fantastic. Any other thoughts, guys? Are we on
Are you asking your viewing public?
I'm asking everybody. Everybody's having a big idea sex orgy right now.
Yes,
It's
I
good.
get that.
Hello.
Hey, we're just
Welcome.
sat here at
Say a quick hello to you guys. Say hi. Hi to the Facebook world.
You're on Facebook right
You're on
now.
Facebook Live. We're live. It's good.
No,
Yes, I get that.
I
Cool.
just, honestly, I think a lot of this comes back to knowing your why, your intention, and really, when you're connected within, that sets up a very organic process and space for connecting to other people. Right?
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I find that the more aware that I can be that what is coming through is a co-creation. It's a co-creation between something which is much bigger than me, and it's moving through me as the vessel, and that's going to be the little bits and pieces that will give it its nuance and all the rest of it. But that ultimately, that's the stuff that I can't figure out with my head. That's the stuff that actually lives in my body and in my heart, and allowing those things to flow. And the more that I can trust that which is much bigger than me to steer the ship, as opposed to this little highly tenacious being that wants to keep putting restrictions and also wants to keep second guessing everybody else's reception to what it is that I'm offering, which creates horrible perfectionism, self-criticism and all the rest of it. So this is the dance that is there for me always, is to do whatever it is that I need to do that particular day in order to drop into, as you said, into my own sense of what brings me into connection with that which is much bigger than me, and letting that
Jules, that's such a
move
beautiful
through
point.
me. That's the flow, and that's the inexhaustible resource. You know, that is the perpetual mojo, which is why that's what I called my business, because I want to keep reminding myself that it's not something that we have to keep relighting. It's actually our own natural resource. It's what connects all of us all the time anyway.
Yeah.
And that if I can trust that to run the show, then we're all in a good place.
Yes.
And I'm just going to flow on from this because that's yes! Oh my God, I love you. But honest to God, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about being this sort of channel, this beautiful channel that can bring through energy and bring through power and bring through energy and messages that you're connected to, but also simultaneously it's far greater than you as well.
Yeah.
Right? And so the more that you can get over yourself and get less attached to it being all about you and your ideas and your sort of smaller mind about things, honest to God, you'll just you just open, become so much more receptive to the fact that A, it's not about you, so you'll be less attached. And also, you'll allow far greater powerful things to flow through you. Being both receptive up here and grounded down here as well. There's a certain humility about that, you know, to be able to do that, because the moment you think it's all about you, it creates all sorts of misconceptions about the fact that, you know, you're much bigger than that.
Yeah, totally.
You really are.
Yeah.
And as well as like I prefer rather than to see it as a battle. You know, it's like this against this and all this sort of stuff. But I like to think of it as a sexy dance. It's like they're just, you know, we're playing with weight. It's a little bit of tug of war, and then there's a little bit of coming together. And then it's like, yeah, totally.
It's a little serious. Oh,
And the dance goes on.
It's a little serious.
Not serious. To answer your question, Uncle Chris. To answer your question, Uncle Chris, not here right now. Sorry, she's asking me where she is. That's great. Yes, and I love the whole idea of just co-arising in the dance with the world and the self. It's beautiful. Just having fun with that, just playing with that. That's a beautiful note to end it on, guys, I think. How you guys feeling?
Yeah,
good?
absolutely.
Great. Thank you guys so much for joining, all your beautiful faces. And yes, much love and success to you and yours. Mwah.